Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai.
Suppose there is a dark room and we switch on a light, we come in the room and we switch on a light, we are able to see what is in the room. This light which we are switching on in the room is the observing eye. Till now, we had only heard about what is in the room, because there is no way the 5 external senses can go into the room. We had read about it in so many books. And it's more than often that people who have written very, very beautiful books of what is in the room have really not gone in the room. And now we are able to see what is in this dark room. And it is very, very different from reading a description about it. Sometimes some advanced artist, maybe a poet, maybe a painter, they are able to look through the window a little. There's not enough light, but a little bit of, maybe there's a flash of lightning or something. And for a fraction of a second through the window, they are able to see something in the room. And they are able to write beautiful lines about it. They are able to make a beautiful canvas about it. But that does not mean they have been in the room. To be in the room, there is only one way to be in the room, and that is to switch on the light. And the light is our observing eye. The very process of observation, the very process of throwing attention is the throwing of light. And this room, what is this room? This room is our intellectual center and emotional center. So now we are going a little further in our process of self-observation. Is observation possible because of the intellectual center, or is observation possible because of the emotional center? Is observation, self-observation, is it possible because of the intellectual center, or is it possible because of the emotional center? The emotional center. The emotional center. Why? 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 What is the difference between the emotional mind and the intellectual mind? That, feeling, right? But the intellectual mind, how does it work? It works digitally. Digitally. One thing at a time. Thoughts process, they move one after the other. Two thoughts cannot, be with each other side by side. So the intellectual mind, the intellectual center is digital. And so, it cannot be used for self-observation. The observation has to come in the emotional center. The emotional center is not digital. The emotional mind is not digital. The emotional mind can work parallel. And that is why you can hold two feelings in the emotional mind simultaneously at the same time. The whole perception of truth starts with the feeling of truth. Slowly we move to the perception of truth. And then comes the knowing of truth in a higher intellectual center, not in the normal intellectual center. Something opens up. The emotional mind was not given to man to feel. He uses it to feel just as a machinery in nature, to fulfill the purpose of nature. All our feelings are mainly just negative feelings, even the ones which we call positive. And all they do is they fulfill a purpose of nature. The real function of the higher function of the emotional mind is to perceive. What kind of perception would there be in the emotional mind? We have talked about this last year. I'm going to repeat it a little. What kind of perception would there be in the emotional mind? Perception. आपको गुजराती करवानी जरूर હોય તો कर लो पहला પછી હું ભૂલી જઈશ
હા કરી લો કરી લો
અંધારા રૂમનું સમજાઈ ગયું બધાને હા એટલે એ નથી બોલતો એટલે અંધારા રૂમની અંદર આપણે જે વાત કરીએ છીએ ઇમોશનલ સેન્ટર અને ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ સેન્ટર રાઈટ ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ સેન્ટર ડિજિટલી ચાલે છે એક પછી એક રાઈટ એટલે તમારી સાથે હું જો વાત કરતો અને કોઈ અહીંયા સાઈડમાં બોલતું હોય તો બંને વસ્તુ હું ન સાંભળી શકું રાઈટ હું ફોન પર વાત કરતો અને કોઈ સામેથી કંઈક બોલતો હોય તો બંને બગડે રાઈટ તો એ ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ સેન્ટર જે છે એ ડિજિટલ છે એક પછી ઇમોશનલ સેન્ટર ડિજિટલ નથી એટલે આખી સેલ્ફ ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન જે છે એની કારણ કે આપણે બે ફિલિંગ રાખવાના છે ફિલિંગ ઓફ જે ઘટના છે સામે અને ફિલિંગ જે અંદર થઈ રહ્યું છે બંને એક સાથે રાખીએ છીએ એટલે જ્યારે બે ફિલિંગ ધારણ કરવાના છે ત્યારે ઇમોશનલ માઇન્ડની જરૂર પડે છે હકીકતે ઇમોશનલ માઇન્ડ આપણને જે મળ્યું છે ફિલિંગ માટે તો ફિલિંગ એની માટે આપણને મળ્યું છે ખાલી નેચરના પ્રોસેસ પૂરું કરવા માટે મનુષ્યએ જો એનો ઉપયોગ કરવો હોય તો એ દર્શન માટે એને ઉપયોગ કરવો પડે સત્યનું દર્શન હૃદયથી થાય છે સત્યનું જ્ઞાન પછી ક્યાંક બીજે થાય છે સત્ય કયા નિયમથી ચાલે છે તો આ થોડુંક આપણે કરી ગયા So, the emotional mind can perceive the truth and then the higher intellect knows the working of truth, how truth works. What laws go into the working of truth? One of the laws we are going to take this time is the law of three forces. And if possible, we'll also take the law of seven or the law of octaves. Truth is bound in these two laws. Two laws. And how they work, it's very important to know at least the theory of their working. So, because the emotional center can hold two or more feelings, and today science says it can hold 16 feelings simultaneously. 16 different feelings. But because it can hold two, we are not interested in evoking the other powers of the emotional center. We are interested in our journey towards truth. And that is why we want to use this part where we can hold two feelings. Now what happens over there? What is the process? When we start our process of self-observation, what happens between the emotional center and the intellectual center? Let us try to go into that. It's very interesting. Now, before the process of self-observation starts. Both the emotional mind and the intellectual mind are working in a kind of chaos. And I'm going to, if today, if not possible, then tomorrow, I'm going to give you a kind of example of it, a picture example. So we'll try to go into that. And with that, we'll take visualization, which is the key to the working of the emotional center. How to visualize. Now, please understand this again, because a lot of us read books. And reading books, we are reading about what is in the room. Right? We have not lit the light. We have not switched on the light which is in the room. And it is very different to read in books. Many times, those books the people who have written, they have not switched on the switch for themselves only. More often than not. So, now in the intellectual center, two cannot come in together simultaneously. In the emotional center, things are parallel. Now, when we are facing an event in life, जीवन छे एक घटनाओनी हार माळा छे. When there is an event in life, where do we become aware of the event first? In which center? In the intellectual. The thought of it comes. The thought of it comes. Right? We become aware of the thought first. Right? So I see you coming, some process happens. We'll go into that process. But when I have the thought that this is Sharmila Ben, then I know, there is the knowing that, okay, I'm aware of it. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? As you are coming, the first impression of you coming falls in the instinctive center. It has to fall in the instinctive center because the instinctive center is there to protect man. So immediately it gives a signal whether it is comfortable with you or uncomfortable. It goes to the emotional center. The emotional center immediately puts a label, I like it or dislike it. But we are not even aware at that time. We are aware when the thought comes in the intellectual center. As our consciousness increases, we'll be able to penetrate into the other centers. Right? So, but now we want to work not in the intellectual center, we want to work in the emotional center. And the emotional center does not listen to the intellectual center. It does not listen. And that is why I am very shocked many times when I read people with giving good thoughts for today. Right? Because good thoughts have no meaning. Good thoughts have no meaning. What the emotional center is not going to listen to the intellectual center. Right? So people are giving out good thoughts, send out good thoughts. Right? And now people are writing books on how they have effect in hospitals and this and that. But it's definitely they have found some way without knowing it of activating the emotional center. And we'll go later on into that visualization is the key. Visualization is the key. Now, what is the drama which happens? What drama, inner drama takes place between the intellectual center and the emotional center? Now, before the emotional center labels anything as like or dislike, which it is doing every moment. Little bit I say something and it gets boring, immediately it will label dislike. A little will get interesting, again it will label as like. And this is going on every moment. In this labeling of like and dislike every moment, it is using emotional energy. So before the like and dislike, there is pure emotional energy. Right? Before the labeling of the like and dislike, there is pure emotional energy. Now, something is going to be kidnapped over here. અહીંયા કંઈક વસ્તુનું અપહરણ થવાનું છે. We've heard all stories of કે કૃષ્ણએ કોનું અપહરણ કરેલું? રુક્મિણીનું. રુક્મિણીનું અપહરણ કરેલું. પૃથ્વીરાજ ચૌહાણે સંયુક્તાનું અપહરણ કરેલું. Beautiful story, written by Premchand. I don't know if any of you studied Premchand. Premchand has written a beautiful story of Prithviraj Chauhan. And what is the last line in that story? Anyone can say. Last line. Prithviraj has been blinded by Muhammad Ghori, the king. Muhammad Ghori, the king, has blinded Prithviraj. And now he's going to die. They are both going to be executed. And with him is, who is with him? Who is with him on the point of this? So beautiful. This is the story of the heart of India. Every child in India should know this story. This is the heart of India, this story. Right? Chand Bardai, his advisor, Prithviraj's advisor, and he was a Barot, Chand Barot. He was a Barot, and his poet and everything, and his best friend, and he was with Prithviraj. And he's been captured by Muhammad Ghori, and in a big round, Muhammad Ghori says that he blinded him. He says, I knew you were a great king, you are a great king, and that you could shoot an arrow only on the sound. Only on the sound. Right? And I'm going to test you before I execute you, kill you. If your arrow hits the target, you will not be killed. And they are there, and Muhammad Ghori, the emperor, comes over there. And Chand Bardai then tells something in Prithviraj's ear. Right? And instead of hitting the sound, where does he throw the arrow? At Muhammad Ghori. But it doesn't hit him, it knocks off his crown. It knocks off his crown. And the words which he says in his ear, those are the words which, every Indian boy should know this. Now it's all forgotten, but when we were kids, everybody knew this. Char bas, 24 gaj, Angul ashta praman, ta upar sultan hai, mat chuke Chauhan. Char bas, 4 bamboos, 24 gaj, 24 yards. Angul ashta praman, 8 fingers. On that the sultan is sitting. On that the sultan is sitting. Mat chuke Chauhan. Your arrow should not miss the mark. And he sends the arrow, but it knocks off his crown. Prithviraj, of course, dies. Beautiful story. And Premchand has written it so well. So these are the stories of the heart of India, the heart of India. Anyway, so we are going to now see this drama between the intellectual center and the emotional center. Now supposing we are eating an apple. Now, eating the apple, first, which center will come in? The instinctive center. There will be the taste of the apple. There will be the juice of the apple, whether the juice is sweet or whether the juice is sour, whether the apple has become little old, the skin is wrinkled or not wrinkled, right? It is fresh or not fresh, etc., etc. Now, we are trying to eat this apple with observing eye. With observing eye. So, there are 2 feelings. There are 2 feelings. The feeling of apple and the feeling of observing eye. You have to separate. You have to separate. And please practice this every day. Start practicing in small things in life. Apple is very good. Tea is very good. Right? I'm not saying tea is good, but practicing with a cup of tea. Right? Practice with a cup of tea. And now you're tasting the apple and you're holding observing eye at the same time. And supposing you will see at that time that supposing something changes, a bitter taste comes from the apple, you will forget observing eye and you will be identified with the apple. Right? You'll be identified with the apple. What happens over here? Now, supposing this was to happen in slow motion, what is happening over here? What is happening over here? So simple. But you'll have to practice it. What is happening? The feeling of the apple, has it kidnapped the feeling of I? The feeling of the apple अपहरण करी जाए. The feeling of I. हरी ले. It kidnaps the feeling of I. Now initially you will find it very, very difficult. We'll find it very difficult to separate the feeling of apple and feeling of I. Because feeling of apple is very material. Very easy. Feeling of I is like, it's something far away. It's very difficult initially to. But start with the instinctive center. Start with the instinctive center. Whenever you're alone, you're eating something, start separating over there. Start separating over there. Now, with an apple, it is still quite easy. With an apple, it is still quite easy. But if somebody insults me, right, now it is difficult. So we practice with simple things. We'll practice with simple things. Like drinking a cup of tea, drinking water, right? And slowly we'll come to a stage where we will be able to practice with the emotional center. So now somebody is insulting me, saying all kinds of words to me, profanity, right? Abusing me. And at that moment, if I've practiced well, I may be able to separate the feeling of I from the feeling of being insulted. And this is where sadhana starts, with the emotional center. Everything else is net practice. This is where it starts. So, there will be a wave of negativity within me. I'm feeling negative and I can't hold an I, so again I become identified. And this process will go on. It will take a very, very long time. It's not going to happen overnight. This is a very slow process. It is only through practice that we'll come to a state where there's a feeling of I as different from everything. And the proof of it is that every time there is a feeling of I, it is always the same I. It is always the same person. Right? So then you know it is observing I. If the feeling is different, it is not observing I. Right? Somebody has come to take its place. So, in the emotional center, there is a negative emotion. Somebody has insulted me. I am feeling jealous. I am feeling suspicious. Right? And in that, I am now trying to separate the I, just the way I was trying to separate it when I was eating the apple, I was drinking the tea. That was my practice. My practice. Even now we are sitting here, from the process of hearing, can you separate the I? From the process of sitting, maybe you're feeling the ground a little hard, right? Can you separate the I? Keep practicing. Try to hold the feeling of I when you're enjoying listening or when you're feeling bored. In both the things you will say, feeling of bored is different, feeling of enjoying is different, but at both times feeling of I is the same. Now you've got something. Now you've got something which is going to be totally different from all the ups and downs in life. Then now life will go as a series of events. Some events will bring a feeling of happiness. Some events will bring a feeling of sadness. Some events will take you into some higher state. Some events will take you down. But if you have separated the feeling of I, every event in life, everything that is happening in life, the feeling of I will never change. And as the observing I becomes more and more powerful, it will become more and more intense. You'll be grounded over there in that observing I. Then nothing in life can touch that observing I. That is where we want to go. So, we practice this. Now, once we've understood this, we understand how the whole process works. So we understand that the thought initially came in the intellectual center, that somebody insulted me. Immediately we go into the emotional center, start extracting the feeling of I, which at present is hypnotized with the feeling of insult. It has become one. Vritti sarupyam ita ratra, Patanjali says. Right? If the I is not in its original state of observing I, where is it? It has gone to sleep with whatever vritti. It has become one with whatever vritti. And that word sarupyam, enu roop lailej. Insult no roop lailej. Jealousy no roop lailej. Jealousy bani nathi jata. Enu roop lailej. Roop is a very, very deep word, because roop is magnetic. It is made out of magnetism. It comes from the planets. We keep that aside for just now. Right? Now, this is not going to happen overnight. There is going to be a step-by-step process. So, there will be many times where you will separate a little and again you will be pulled back in. You will feel a little angry, you will separate, and again then the anger will take you away and you will forget the observing I. So instead of self-remembering, you will be in self-forgetting. Self is forgotten. Anger is remembered. Right?
I just need clarification. So say you see someone approaching, right? There's three centers: instinctive, emotional, and intellectual. So I see someone approaching, the thought that comes in that I like the person or not, first the thought is intellectual. I got that.
I'm aware of the thought first.
I'm aware.
Of the thought, because my awareness is moving at a very slow speed. Right? But before I'm aware of the thought, the instinctive center and the emotional center have already done their thing.
Is that that thought, the instinctive center, I understand the emotional part. Does the instinctive center kick in when you see the person? Is it a like, dislike, a threat?
Right. The instinctive is not like dislike. It is comfortable, uncomfortable.
So it's a threat.
Yeah.
So
it is pleasant or unpleasant.
So that comes first,
then comes the like or dislike.
And then the intellect.
Then the intellect takes it as a thought and I become aware of what is happening. By the time I become aware of what is happening, it is already a thought. It is already, this process has already happened. But there are times when I am in the instinctive center. Can you think of something?
You see a line.
What?
You see a line.
Yes, definitely. When there is great danger. When there is great danger. There may not be real danger, but I may perceive danger. I may be going late at night alone on a, lonely street or something. Right? So then suddenly the instinctive center becomes very powerful. Very powerful at that stage. Right? And we are sensing things, we are not thinking things. But we cannot hold that state all the time. Right? But it happens at a certain stage. So, this is the whole karma bhumi of our sadhana. Intellectual center, emotional center. This is the whole Kurukshetra. The whole Mahabharata happens between these two centers, in this area, this much area, in those couple of centimeters of area is what is Kurukshetra. Right? Everything happens in those couple of centimeters, not even centimeters. My Guru used to say 2 millimeters of area. Right? That whole battlefield is there. Now, one thing we have to be very, very sure about, our whole ability to extract observing I, what will it depend on? What will it depend on? On the power of holding double-arrowed attention. On the power of holding double-arrowed attention. Right? So, we are practicing extracting I from the apple, but we must also be practicing for double-arrowed attention. What is that practice? The rhythmic breathing. Very important, because that is our background practice for holding double-arrowed attention. If we are not able to hold it for a few seconds also, again the I will get hypnotized by what is happening. It is kidnapped. Apparent pages. Gone. We can't hold it. So we have this thought in the intellectual center that somebody has insulted me, right? And if we cannot hold double-arrowed attention, the feeling of observing I will go away, and only the thought and the feeling of insult will remain. Now, initially as we get this feeling of I, it will be a very foggy feeling of I. We won't be able to hold it, we won't be able to perceive it also properly. Dhumas jevu ase. Right? So it's not a proper, we can't place it properly, but keep practicing. We cannot have initially the same, I'm eating the apple, the intensity of the feeling of the apple. We cannot have the same intensity of observing I. For us to have a feeling of I, we need something attached to that I. We need something to color that I. In our life, we have never for a moment had a feeling of, naked feeling of I. If I'm president of a club, I have some feeling of I. If you insult me, I have some feeling of I. If you praise me, I have some feeling of I. Right? So this is all imaginary I. Can you see what I'm trying to say? But the naked feeling of I, where I am nothing and still there is I. Can you get what I'm trying to say? It's very difficult for us to hold that feeling. It is so fleeting. It goes away so fast. We immediately want to label something upon it. And the minute we label something upon it, it becomes imaginary. So that is why Dharana Shakti. Dharana Shakti means how much time can we hold double-arrowed attention. So in the day, take out sometimes 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whether you're in your office, whether you're at home, wherever you are, and say, put a time in your watch, let it go for 5 minutes, and say, in these 5 minutes, I'm going to hold double-arrowed attention. Keep practicing. This is the most valuable thing you can do with your life. Most important thing you can do with your life. Slowly as we practice, we will see that now when negative emotions are coming, this observing I is not easily hypnotized by the emotion. Now it has got some sthirta, some stability. Sthiram sukham asanam. This is the real meaning of what Patanjali is saying. He's not talking about all those yoga asanas, which everybody interprets as. This is the meaning. When the real observing I has become sthir. And when it is sthir, it gives its very presence gives us a feeling of sukh. Its very presence. It doesn't matter what the outside event is. It doesn't matter. Somebody very close may have died, but at that feeling of observing I, that sukh nobody can take away. No event in life can take away. Right? And that is why he calls it as Sthiram Sukham Asana. It is not an asana of the body. It has nothing to do with all these yoga postures. It is an asana inside of us. Now, something in us which is permanent is being built. Something in us which cannot be, it is not what you call taken away by the winds of life. Something has separated. Something in us which cannot die. Can you see? This is permanence. It is immortality. Now we'll go into the same thing again. Look at it from another way. Again we come to the same example. Somebody has insulted me. I'm trying to hold I, but I see that I cannot hold the I. The I is getting pulled away by the insult. Still there is a vague awareness that I am being insulted and I don't want to get angry, I don't want to react. But I see that the I has got hypnotized. And I can't do anything about it. Maybe I'll react a little. I won't react like in the old days I used to react. But I'll react a little. Thodo gano gusso aavi jase. Thodi irritation aavi jase. Right? The red light comes. Thodo aam thai jase. Relax. Right? Now, what? So we see that initially we tried to hold the observing I. The observing I got hypnotized. And then a point comes where we are able to hold it again. Now the minute it got hypnotized and we hold it again, it comes back again, the whole scenery will now change. What will we be seeing now? Can you tell? Try to think. What has happened? Think of associations. Associations.
Acceptance.
Associations.
Acceptance.
No. See, just now there is one thought. Which thought is there? That somebody has insulted me. I see this one thought is trying to pull my eye. And at one point I lose it. I react a little. And at that point again I self-remember. I remember myself. I say, okay, let me bring the observing eye again out. But when I bring it out, what do I see? What do I see inside? I see that when it got hypnotized, there was only one thought, but now when it has come out, there are so many thoughts. That one thought, the minute you got hypnotized, it triggered a whole series of thoughts inside, and all these people, Kauravas and their army have come on the battlefield. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Last year did we go into associations? Anyway, we'll go deeper this year in what is an association. The minute one thought comes, it has links everywhere to so many other different memories. So many different memories. Because we were holding observing I, it could not play its mischief. But the minute we got hypnotized and we woke up again, suddenly now it is not one thought we have to battle with. Now so many other thoughts have come to support that one thought, and they are all trying to hypnotize us again. So many other thoughts, and all negative thoughts. Right? That is why we want to study the doctrine of many eyes. They are not thoughts, they are all eyes who have come to support the first eye. Right? See, in these two opposing armies. And Arjun tells Krishna that, please take my chariot in between the two armies. Please take my chariot in between the two armies. And the whole Kurukshetra is this, the emotional center, intellectual center. Right? Observing I is Krishna. The one who is making the effort of holding the observing I is Arjuna. And all the inner enemies which have to be destroyed are in front of you. Right? All of them are in front of you. And Krishna tells Arjuna, okay, all these who have come to fight for Duryodhana have come only to please him. They have only come to please him. Right? It was not a real army, even though the Kauravas had 18 Akshoni Sena, a very big Sena. Right? The Pandavas had only 11 Akshoni Sena. But they had all come for different purposes. It was a chaos, it was not an army. Everybody had his own ego to fulfill. It was not an army over there. Here everybody was sure why they had come. They had come only to fight for Yudhishthira. Everybody was sure why they had come. So this was one-pointed attention. This was fragmented attention into so many different eyes. Right? So when we got hypnotized and we came out, that one warrior which was in front of us, now so many other warriors have come to. And this is the whole science of the 18-day war of the Mahabharata. It is happening here. Happening. So it is very good as a story for children. It's very good, very beautiful story for children. But when we go into its depth, it is exactly what is happening. Right? Now, when we go into the eyes, we will divide the eyes into two parts. Life eyes and work eyes. So there is the observing eye and there are other eyes to support it. That is the Pandav Sena. That is work eyes. And there are life eyes who are supporting Duryodhana. So now you have insulted me. In the initial stage, I was only working with one thought. I was trying to pull myself out of, but now there are so many thoughts, so many other eyes have come to support that. Right? And they will start talking in all kinds of chattering over there in the mind. You better react with him, otherwise he will do this to you again. Right? How can you take it that somebody cheats you? How can you take it that somebody puts you down, etc., etc.? They are all talking in those languages and they want you to get hypnotized again, identified again. Later on, what are work eyes, we will go into how to create work eyes so that they help us in this process of self-observation. So this is just a small background on what the Mahabharata is. So there are so many thoughts on the battlefield. Till now I was fighting with one, now I am fighting with many, and all of them are trying to hypnotize us, make us negative. Now, when we study associations, we will be able to study that this one thought, which chain of thoughts is it going to evoke? So one negative thought, it is connected with what other different memories, and we suddenly will be able to see the whole chain from far away. And then there's no way we will get hypnotized. But just now we cannot see the chain. So the one link into the other. Right? It happens in I'm drinking water. I'm sitting here in front of you drinking water. It has no connection, but something will trigger. I forgot to fill up my bottle of water. What will I do at night? And last night when I woke up for water, I felt like drinking a Coca-Cola or something. Right? And then it's not good to drink Coca-Cola at night, of course. The stomach becomes acidic, etc., etc. Right? So these chains, which one chain opens, one thought opens another thought, right? These are all intrinsic chains inside. And they're all connected. We don't see those connections. We don't have the awareness to see those connections. So we're going to study those connections. Because we want to know beforehand what mischief this thought is going to play. Right? All of them want to steal from us. Our only cash balance is feeling of I, the observing I. And all these thoughts have come to steal it. Apharan karwaya, come to steal it. Our bank balance. Now, in the old days, what was observing I called in traditional bhakti yoga? Because this is bhakti yoga, emotional center. It is pure bhakti yoga. So, what was it called? The observing I. Very easy. What was the observing I called? Ishtadev. Ishtadev. So, when the disciple is with the guru, no, and he's learning bhakti from the guru will first ask, "Ke te isht ni sthapna kari che?" How will we say this in English? Te tari andar isht ni sthapna kari che? Have you, like you've put a statue in the temple, we put a statue of a god in the temple. Have you established that statue within you? The guru will ask. And if the disciple says yes, that Ishta, the deeper meaning of Ishta is the desired God. That has nothing to do with I like Shiv and I don't like Vishnu. Right? All the nonsense which is going around these days has nothing to do with that. Right? So the Isht is the desired God inside. That is the observing I. That is the desire with which we were born. To create the observing I. And that is the Ishtadev. So the bhakti is around the Ishta. The Ishta. And that Ishta has to be created within the emotional center. And now it is observing everything which is there. Can you see what I'm trying to say? And in all the real bhajans, not the poetry bhajans which go on everywhere, the real bhajans, you will see this division inside between the Ishta and what is trying to take the Ishta back into life. Some of the very beautiful bhajans are by Ganga Sati. And Ganga Sati says, she's talking to her daughter-in-law, Panbai. And she's telling her, ke tu sajatiya ane vijatiya nu bhed parak che. Sajatiya ane vijatiya nu bhed parak che. Sajat, jat means self. That which takes you to self. Vijatiya, which takes you away from self. What is she talking about? She's talking about the same science. We are putting it in a scientific language. She's talking in the language of bhakti. Vijatiya means all the life eyes. Duryodhan Sena, Vijatiya, which is taking you away. And Sajatiya means all the, what do you call? Work eyes. The ones which are helping you take you towards your divine nature. Sajatiya and Vijatiya nu bhed parach. So, these bhajans are very, very deep, but they're talking of the same thing. If we, yes?
Sorry. When you say the East Dev, is that the East Dev that you establish yourself, and even when you lost, guides you?
Yes. It should not be imaginary. Should not be imaginary. And the test is, if it always says good things, then it is imaginary. But if it makes us suffer, real suffering, not imaginary suffering, not what we talked about yesterday, suspicion and that kind of stuff. Yes?
Is that when you ask, it guides you, but inside you got the thought, okay, this is the way. But then you realize that's not the way. It leads you to another way.
changes the events of life. The very presence changes, doesn't have to lead you to another way. Its very presence changes the events of life. It changes the laws of karma under which you are. So we call that as Ishta. Ishta. Right? Now I want to ask one question here. Let me just see if one more thing I want to say before I ask that question. We live under the illusion that there is something like my thought. There is nothing like my thought. If I am saying this is my thought, means I am hypnotized. Thoughts come from the higher mind. They come according to our level of being, our structure of acceptance. If I am only interested in the lower things of life, those thoughts are going to come. But they are still not my thoughts. They have come from the higher mind, the universal mind. I throw out those thoughts, they become somebody else's thoughts. Right? So we must be able to recognize what kind of thought has come. With what intention has that thought come? Has it come to take away something valuable from me? And the only thing which is valuable is the feeling of my ishta, the feeling of my I, the observing I. And is it coming to hypnotize me? Then I lose that feeling. So we recognize those thoughts. It is not that there is danger in the streets of the town where I am going to be robbed. But there are danger in my inner psychological country, and there the streets are more dangerous than the streets outside. Because those thoughts are going to come and they are going to rob from me, steal from me. And we must be able to recognize that this guy has come to steal my most valuable possession, the feeling of I. Right? Now, the one question I want to put is, where do we get the energy to hold divided attention? Where do we get I've talked about this before.
Yeah, from the wall.
From?
Wall.
From?
Wall.
World. From the world.
No.
Willpower.
No. In itself, it is a kind of will. In itself, it is a kind of will. Where does the energy to hold that will, where does it come from?
Practice.
Pardon?
Practice.
No.
Tradition of
Practice,
practice.
we practice to hold. Right? We use the energy to hold. But what is the source of that energy? What is the source of that energy? Does it come from the food we eat? Not come from the food we eat. What happens to the food we eat? It becomes the final product of the food we eat is sex energy. Right? Yeah? I don't understand. Sorry. Aura? No. Come on, I've told you this. You've forgotten. That is why I'm asking you. I want to see. Right? Dant tha seva. When we sleep at night. When we sleep at night. Right? When we sleep at night, the soul goes back into the spirit, into the Atma. In deep sleep they are one. The soul and the spirit is one. And as we wake up in the morning, the soul comes back, and it is through the energy of the spirit that it awakens the mind, awakens all the processes in our psychic structure. And it comes back with a very, very powerful energy. This energy is Dharana Shakti. Try to understand this double-arrowed attention. The very Ishta Dev inside, it gives us the energy to worship him. We cannot create that energy. However good food we eat, however sattvic food we eat, it does not come from food. It comes in deep sleep from the Atma inside. He gives the energy to worship him. Yeah, please.
Is that now the Ishtadev different from the essence? Or is it the essence?
It will become.
It will, but it's not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
It's not the Atma.
It will become. Not yet. It is still in the personality. When we talked about essence and personality, it is still in the personality. It is separating from the personality. At one point, it will move into the essence, and then it will become the real I. That is God, the real I. But till then, it is still the observing I. It is still the observing I. See, there is a I'm losing words these days. I don't know why. I'm really losing words. I think it's time to stop now. We can take an example from life, right? A kind of simile in life. Metaphor, not simile. The male releases millions of sex cells, but only one sex cell reaches the female ova. The rest die. The rest die. Does that have a purpose? Does that have a purpose? Come on, medical science still does not know, but it is there in medical science. It is there in medical science. They have not yet recognized it. Tell me. Tell me. Yeah. It has to have a purpose. It has to have a purpose. So, in medical science, we say that below 20 million means that this person has a low sperm count. Right? But what does it mean deeper? It means that by dying all these cells, they are creating a certain kind of death energy, which is pushing that one cell from the universe of cells, the dimension of cells, to the dimension of man. Can you get what I'm trying to say? It is because that one cell, which is the meeting of the male and the female, it has to move from the cellular dimension to the dimension of man. It is going to create a new child. Can you get what I'm trying to say? And that push which is needed, millions of other cells have to die. It is the death energy of those cells which push this into the world of being born in the world of man. So it doesn't mean that just one cell has to reach. There has to be the death of so many cells. Right? It is that energy which is needed. And that is why they say, when only one is needed, then why is a count below 20 million count as low sperm count? But something science is missing over here. Can you get what I'm trying to say? Now, similarly, the same thing happens psychologically in the psychic structure. That observing I is the one sperm. And it moves from the personality and fertilizes the essence and becomes the real I, the Atma Tattva inside. Can you get what I'm trying to say? But for that, all Duryodhan Sena has to die. It has to die. And the beauty of the Mahabharata is that it is not Duryodhan Sena which dies, but even the Pandav Sena dies. Can you see? Can you see the amount of death energy created when you're talking about these millions and millions of people dying? Just for that one cell to become divine. To escape from the whole dimension of man into something totally different. See? And that happens at a psychological level. Right? And you see in the Mahabharata that even after the war was over, in the middle of the night, Ashwatthama goes and he destroys the rest of all all the living army in one night. All the Panchal Sena, all Draupadi's children, her brothers, everyone, he goes in one night and just destroys all of them.
So when all these cells die, or
Yeah.
personalities die, does it create a vacuum of energy, or does it create a vacuum of potential of positive, negative energy that allows for the propulsion to go through?
It creates an energy which can allow something to pass from one dimension of time to another dimension of time. Only two energies in our life. Life is created through sex. It allows a cell to pass from one dimension to another dimension. And life ends with death. It destroys something in this dimension and pushes something into another dimension. These are the two most magnificent energies in our life. Right? Time is energy. Getting into something else. Time is energy. In the sense that the cell is born at the moment of sex, and it is moving in such a fast speed. The differentiation which happens in a mother's womb, is so much that so much does not happen in the rest of our life. 2 cells become 4, 4 become 8. There is a geometric progression. Time is moving so fast in the mother's womb, we cannot imagine. It is actually moving so fast that that very cell, which is the master cell, it passes through the whole evolutionary history of the universe. Can you get what I'm trying to say? It is born as a child, and as the child grows up, time slows down. Time slows down. And we can experience it even in our normal life. In our childhood, in 1 hour, we could do so many things. Now, by the end of the day, we say, oh, so much has been left undone. We don't have time to fulfill everything we wanted to do in the day. Right? One day is too short. Time is slowing down. The inner key of life is slowing down. Can you see this? Right? The inner key of life is slowing down. 1 hour of childhood is not the same of 1 hour as 60 years old. There's a huge difference. Even though in hours it is still 60 minutes. Right? But it's very different. What I could do in that 1 hour, I can't do in this 1 hour. And as death comes, time really slows down like anything. And then the same energy which brought us into life, at the moment of death, it comes to take us away from life. And if time is energy, then the moment of birth is the moment of death. Because we experience that energy once, we experience it again at death. If time is energy, they are both the same moment. Now this is very difficult to understand. Very, very difficult. Because we can only perceive time in this past, present, future line. There is no perception of time beyond this line. It is only when we have observing eye inside, which we realize is now moving into eternal time, suddenly our whole conception of time will change. Everything will change in our life. With the establishment of observing. Right? So,
એટલે instead of 1.5 month આપણે કેપ્ટનમાં 3 મહિના આવ્યો પેલું જે હતું એ ઓછું છે.
ચાલાકી વાળો આવીને જોઈ લેજો. મારો હવે ટાઈમ એકદમ સ્લો ડાઉન થયો. હવે હવે બેગ પેક કરવાનો ટાઈમ.
પણ આજે સવારે તો તમે કીધું કે we will meet after 100 years.
તો 100 years પછી ને, 6 months પછી નહીં. હું એમ માનું કે આપણે બધું સરસ ચાલતું હોય ને ત્યારે બધું બંધ કરી દેવાનું. બધું રાઈટ. હવે આપણે બેટિંગ જ નથી કરી શકતા અને પછી આપણને ટીમમાંથી કાઢે નહીં. આપણે એકદમ સરસ રમી શકતા હોય ત્યારે ટીમમાંથી છૂટા થઈ જાય.
10,000 રન પૂરા થવા જોઈએ ને.
કોઈનું કઈ પૂરું થયું જ નથી. અંદર પૂર્ણતા હોય એટલે બધું પૂરું જ છે. એમ થાય કે હવે આઈ શુડ થિંક અબાઉટ.
તો પછી એમ જ લાગે કે હજુ બરાબર નથી રમ્યા, ટોપ પર બેટિંગ નથી થયું. કારણ કે દર વખત કંઈક ને કંઈક આપણે એડ કરીએ છીએ કે આ આવતી સાલ લઈશું, આ આવતી સાલ લઈશું.
એ સારું છે. Yeah. પણ પાછા ફેરા. So this very, very important energy. In the Gayatri mantra, this energy is called as Savita. Tat Savitu Varenyam. That energy comes from the inner spirit. Inner spirit. We wake up with that energy every morning. We do not make right use of that energy. We waste it in all to acquire all the comforts of life. Right? Lead a comfortable life, but the real use of that energy, it has been given by that God to worship that God. And the only way we can worship is by double-arrowed attention. This is called dharana. Then comes dhyana and samadhi. Dharana is holding of double-arrowed attention. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Right? So that energy comes from Him. We use it to worship Him. Right? We use a little bit for our comforts and all that, whatever creativity in life. I'm not saying lead a life of suffering or something. Lead a good life. But don't use that energy to keep on acquiring in life. Then it is abuse of that energy. Abuse of that energy. Use that energy which has come from Him to worship Him. So one arrow of attention always on that inner Ishta. One arrow of attention. Then life is this divided attention. Then we become Bhakta. Divided. Right? So that energy is very, very important. We don't waste that energy. So I'll stop over here. I wanted to take one example today, but we don't have that much time, so I'll take that tomorrow. The Gurjev gave a beautiful the example of the horse, carriage and driver. And we'll take that tomorrow. How to make the emotional center understand. What is the technique? Visualization is the technique of making the emotional center understand. We'll take that tomorrow. Right? Any questions? We still have some time. Yeah. Oh, I thought you could.
How's your camps in India with other students?
With
the other students that you have, the camps?
The camps are going well. I'm very happy. Very, very happy. And initially I used to travel a lot and take camps in different places. Now I'm slowly cutting down. I'm refusing. So I take camps in Madhavpur at the ashram, and we built a new ashram on the Narmada. Right? And I'm now taking more and more camps over there. And maybe now I may spend a couple of months in the year over there. I'm hoping to spend. And we now have facilities where at least 150, 200 people can stay also. So, I mean, we can have intensive camps over there.
And how have their lectures compared to where we are?
They complain. They say, 6 weeks you're talking over there, here you don't talk even the whole... Right? Because the camps are for a few days, 4-5 days. Then the rest of the time I'm alone on my farm. So even if somebody phones me that I want to meet you, first thing I do is I put some discouragement. I say I'm not at home, I'm taking a walk on the beach or something of that sort. So then I see if they say, no, we are willing to meet you tomorrow or wait till tomorrow. I don't do all that over here. So there I tell them that. Yeah, please.
What's a good way to use that energy?
The
best way to use
The best way is for double arrow attention. The second best way is to use it for creativity. Create anything in life. Even if I'm putting this, you can arrange it in a creative way. Then you use that energy rightly. Right? So, when you're arranging your things in the home, when you're doing your small chores of the day, right? Use that energy creatively. And that energy, when you use it creatively, it transforms the sex energy. That sex energy goes into creation. Otherwise, all our sex energy goes into excitement. We waste it in excitement. I see something good in the shop, or I want to see a good movie, I want to see this, that. We waste our sex energies always in excitement. Have a little excitement in the day. I'm not saying have a dry life, but try to bring some creativity in life. So the intelligence which grows into creativity comes from that energy. And the transformation which comes in creativity, the beauty comes from sex energy. Right? So creativity is the best way. See that creativity does not bring an ego. Right? Because when you become an artist or something, then artists have very tricky egos sometimes. Right? So that is why bring creativity in the small things in life. Enjoy the small. If you're cooking your food, bring creativity inside. Right? The small things. Even in your profession, you can bring creativity. Yes?
I was going to ask, how do you strike a balance between not wasting that energy on acquiring things and working too hard and all of that? Perhaps you've given me the answer. Is it through the observation, when you observe the ego, then you know it's too much? Is that the answer?
Be comfortable in life.
But that's so subjective.
Yeah, whatever subjective. Right? And put a cancel on luxuries. Right?
Well, you're not suggesting you go and live as monks up in...
No, I'm saying live a comfortable, good life.
But how does one...
But if you need 5 or 6 shirts, you don't have to buy a whole wardrobe of shirts. Right? So, just be comfortable in life.
Those stories of that man who had everything and he went and nearly died on the river and then the lady found him. That's the other extreme.
Yeah, those were different days. 2000 years ago, the brain was different. It was a more intuitive brain. Right? So, that intuitive brain could leave home. It could go into the jungle. It could, because this was not working so fast. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? It could merge with so many things in nature. Right? For us, nature is National Geographic. Right? So, this is a different brain. Now this brain cannot, leave the home. It has to now find it in a different way. All those old paths are obsolete. That does not mean truth changes. Truth does not change. The understanding of truth is now in a different way. It is where we are in our normal life. We use the conditions of normal life to extract consciousness. So I don't go for any of those old traditional ways. They are obsolete. Now they are over. We were the last batch, that is what I say. So find it in life.
But aren't we at a disadvantage because of that? Aren't we at a disadvantage?
What disadvantage?
To be stuck in this materialistic world where...
I've travelled most of the ashrams in India. Because for years I was taking these exercises all over the place. Right? People leave their homes They come to the ashram, they create the same world in the ashrams. The same jealousies, the same fighting. You go to any ashram in India, go to the kitchen, you'll know everything what is happening. Because the kitchens are common. The kitchens are common. And somebody wants to eat this and somebody wants to eat that. Somebody wants a thick chapati, somebody wants a thin chapati. Right? And they've left home and this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Right? It's not worth it. Find it where you are. Find it where you are. That brain which could leave home has gone. Maybe in the last 50 years it is gone. There are still some people, very advanced people, right? But it's not possible because we take our sansar into the ashram. Nothing changes. Yeah.
You mentioned the double error. What's the double error again?
We break our attention into two parts. I'm looking at you, but I'm also separating the observing eye at the same time. And that observing eye is looking at my reaction to looking at you. Right? Double error. Anything else? Okay. So we'll stop over here. We meet tomorrow. Jai Shri Krishna. Good night. Today we want to talk about prayer. Before that, yesterday I had prepared a note on associations, and toward the end of the note I had written 3 things as our immediate aims in self-observation. So before starting the note on prayer, I want to just read the last of the aims because it will be very relevant to what we want to talk today. I had said that yesterday I had said that I'll take my Guru's notes on prayer. I'll take them tomorrow. Today I'll take what I have, commentary I have written today. So I'll take, today I sat down and wrote a little commentary on prayer. So I'll take that first today, and then I'll take his notes tomorrow. Right? Because there was one addendum to his notes was how to ask. So I haven't been able to get a copy of that. So I'll just get it by tomorrow and take it tomorrow. So I'll just go through what I wanted to say yesterday. Now, I had written 3 immediate aims for our self-observation, and the first one was, I'll take that later on. I just want to go through the third aim. Now, we have a conscious mind. Apni paase chetan man che, and we have an subconscious and unconscious mind. And there is a thin layer between the subconscious and the conscious mind. Ek patli rekha che, ardha chetan ane chetan man ni vacche. A thin layer. Now, this is the very upper layer of the subconscious mind. Now, we have started this process of self-observation. And our immediate aim is to bring that which is not in light into light. So, our immediate aim is this thin layer, this thin division between the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind, which today is not in the light of our observation. We cannot see it. But as soon as we have observing eye, we now want to allow that layer which we could not see till today, which we could not hear till today, we want to allow it to come into the light of our observation. So now we are conscious of that, we are aware of that. At present it is very foggy. I'll just go through this in Gujarati. ચેતન મન છે, અર્ધ ચેતન મન છે, બંનેની વચ્ચે એક પતલી રેખા છે, એક પડદો છે. સાધારણતઃ આપણા જીવનની અંદર આપણને એ પડદામાં શું થઈ રહ્યું છે એ ખ્યાલ નથી. કોઈક વખત ધૂંધળું આપણને થોડું કંઈક ખ્યાલ આવે છે. હવે આપણે સેલ્ફ ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન ચાલુ કર્યું. અંદર જે અંધારું હતું એની અંદર ઓબ્ઝર્વિંગ આઈનો પ્રકાશ ચાલુ થઈ ગયો. તો એ ઓબ્ઝર્વિંગ આઈ આપણા મનની અંદર જે પ્રકાશ નાખે છે, પહેલો આપણો લક્ષ્ય એ છે કે એ જે રેખા અત્યાર સુધી મારા અંધકારમાં હતો, જે હું જોઈ નતો શકતો, સેજ મને ધૂંધળું ખ્યાલ હતું કે એ ક્યાંય છે, એ મારે હવે મારા લાઇટમાં લાવવું છે, મારે હવે જોવું છે એની અંદર શું ચાલી રહ્યું છે. ઇટ ઇઝ લાઈક the upper layer of a sheet of water, like on a lake, and the crocodile is below the lake, but the snout of the crocodile is a little above the water. So in this area of the subconscious mind, we have lurking desires. They are like the snout of a crocodile. The crocodile is beneath, but there's a small snout above. And we have to learn to bring that whole area into our observation. This is an area of continuous activity. There is always something going on over there. Some capacitor is being charged, some capacitor is being discharged. And as our process of self-observation increases, we will see when it is charged and we will see when it is discharged. I'll give you a small example. We were just watching the cricket match and we came from there and we came here. Right? So, the bowler throws the ball and the batsman plays a very poor shot, but he's not out. He's not out, but he's very angry on himself. He's very angry on himself. So that angry on himself charges the capacitor. It charges the capacitor. Next ball he hits a sixer. Capacitor is discharged. Can you see? So something in us is being charged. all the time. And it lies in this area between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And then at a sudden provocation, which may or may not have any meaning to anything, it discharges. And we have seen this in our life all the time. It happens all the time. I'm living in someone's house, so there was a little mess. So in the morning I felt my capacitor was a little charged. So I immediately arranged the table and started. I said, let's creatively discharge the capacitor. So if you know when the capacitor is charged, you will not allow it to discharge into negativity. Otherwise what happens? There is no cause for anything, and suddenly we get angry on somebody. Suddenly we blast upon somebody. Somewhere we say something which we should not have said. Right? It discharges. And this keeps on charging. And this area has this continuous activity. Right? So it may be anything. I go to office, my boss says something, and I feel immediate dislike. I can't say anything, capacitor is charged. I come to my table, I see somebody has taken my pen away, and I can't find my pen, and I get irritated, capacitor is charged. Right? I open my lunch box, and I see my wife has kept yesterday's lunch, capacitor is charged. And then I come home and my son or daughter says some small thing and I blast. Can you see? It had no relation to getting angry over there. But the capacitor keeps getting charged. And all this activity is happening between the subconscious and the conscious mind. This we want to bring into our observation. We want to bring our consciousness into this area. એટલે આ જગ્યાની અંદર બેટરી ચાર્જ થાય છે અને બેટરી ડિસ્ચાર્જ થાય છે. ઘણી વાર ઘરમાંથી નીકળું તો કોઈ કે ગાડી આડી મૂકી દીધી, ઇરિટેશન આવી ગયું, ચાર્જ થઈ ગયું. હવે ગાડી ખોલવા જાઉં તો કદાચ વાંદરાએ કે પક્ષીએ કંઈ કર્યું હોય ગાડીનું, પાછું ચાર્જ થઈ જાય. સમજાય છે? ઓફિસમાં જતો હો તો ટ્રાફિક ખૂબ હોય, પાછું ચાર્જ થઈ જાય. તો આખા દિવસની અંદર એ નાની નાની વસ્તુમાં આપણી કેપેસિટર ચાર્જ થતી જાય. અને પછી ન જીવી એવી વસ્તુની અંદર એ ભડકો થઈ જાય. મારો દીકરો કંઈક નાની વસ્તુ કે જેનો કોઈ મતલબ જ ન હોય, પણ ધડ દઈને એની ઉપર તૂટી પડવું. તો આ થતું હોય છે બધાના જીવનમાં, થતું હોય છે. રાઈટ? તો આ જે બને છે, આ જે ચાર્જિંગ અને ડિસ્ચાર્જિંગ જે થાય છે, એ સબકોન્શિયસ અને કોન્શિયસ માઇન્ડની વચ્ચે જે રેખા છે, જે સપાટી છે, ત્યાં થાય છે. અને જેવું એ સપાટી આપણા ઓબ્ઝર્વેશનમાં આવી જશે, ત્યાં આપણને આ વસ્તુનો ખ્યાલ આવશે કે શું થઈ રહ્યું છે ત્યાં.
કેપેસિટર ચાર્જ થઈ જાય છે, નેગેટિવ અર્થમાં ને?
ઓલવેઝ નેગેટિવ. હા, ઓલવેઝ નેગેટિવ. પણ જેવું આપણને અંદર ખ્યાલ આવે કે આ ચાર્જ થઈ ગયું છે, નાની વસ્તુ હોય, રાઈટ? હવે દૂધ ભૂલી ગયો ગેસ ઉપર, ઓવરફ્લો થઈ ગયું, ચાર્જ થઈ જાય. એટલે નાની નાની વસ્તુમાં ચાર્જ થતું હોય છે, આપણને ખ્યાલ, એ બધું ભેગું થાય. અને જો આપણને એ વસ્તુ આપણા સંવેદનામાં આવી જાય કે આ ચાર્જ થઈ ગયું, તો તરત જ કોઈ ક્રિએટિવ વસ્તુમાં એનો ઉપયોગ કરીએ, એનો રાઈટ ઉપયોગ થઈ શકે. જેમ મેં કીધું, આજે ટેબલ ગોઠવી દીધું, બધું નકામી વસ્તુ બધી એને રજા આપી દીધી. ઘણા દિવસથી પડેલી હતી, ઘણા દિવસથી આળસ હતી, પણ હવે ચાર્જ હતો તો આળસ નીકળી ગઈ. રાઈટ? આ રીતે. તો આ જે એરિયા છે between the subconscious and conscious mind, there is a continuous activity going on over there. In today's language, we can call that as static. I hope you know the governments, how they what you call observe static. Supposing there are so many offices of different embassies in this Cape Town. So the government has a kind of monitor where over each office they can, what you call, find out how many electronic signals are coming and going. This they call as static. So suddenly they see over one embassy the signals in static are increasing a lot. They say something is going wrong over there. Maybe some terrorist is coming, something is happening, and they have ways of deciphering the static. Right? Similar, in our subconscious mind, activity is going on all the time. Only we are not aware of it. We are not aware of it. Many times we feel we are highly strung, highly tight. Right? We feel that the wife feels at that time that if the husband comes in front of her just now, she'll take a sword and, highly tight, right? That is the time when this capacitor has been charged. So this, I just wanted to talk about this yesterday, but we got onto some other track yesterday. So I just said that this is very relevant when we are talking about prayer. This area between the conscious and subconscious mind. We talk about prayer. Now, the whole universe, seen and unseen, is one whole. There is an interconnectedness which we cannot see. Somewhere a poet has written that you pluck one flower over here, but the most distant star cries. તો આખું વિશ્વ છે એ એકબીજાની સાથે, અને એક કવિએ કીધું છે કે અહીંયા જો એક ફૂલ આપણે તોડીએ તો સૌથી દૂરનો જે તારો છે એ પણ રડે છે. The universe is a continuous process of request and response. We ask and we receive. Something asks, something receives. Something asks, something receives. The flower is asking for sunlight. It responds by giving fragrance, by giving the seed. Everything in the universe is in a process of communication. And the communication is give and take. And here comes the science of prayer. That if you request, the universe can respond. So, there is a universal mind, the cosmic mind, and there is the individual mind, the mind of man. And the individual mind can ask the cosmic mind. It can put a seed in the universal mind. It can request the universal mind. And the universal mind can respond to its request. And this is the whole basis of prayer. But it's not so easy as we talk about it. It's not so easy. In every response of the universe, there is a totality. Every small cell responds. Every small grain of sand responds. The smallest to the largest, they vibrate in that response. This is a continuous vibration. It goes on and on. Whether it is the largest galaxy or the smallest grain of sand, it's always vibrating. What we do not understand, what we cannot see, is that it is responding all the time. And it is responding to something which we are asking for. But because we cannot see that area between the conscious and subconscious mind, we don't realize that we are asking every moment. And this is man's misfortune, that he does not have the consciousness to go into that place in his own mind where he's asking for the universe every moment and the universe is responding. આ વિશ્વમાં એકો એક વસ્તુ એકબીજાની સાથે કનેક્ટેડ છે. હરેક વસ્તુ વાઇબ્રેટ થઈ રહ્યું છે. એક નાનું રેતીનું કણ હોય કે મોટામાં મોટું ગેલેક્સી હોય, એ વાઇબ્રેટ થઈ રહ્યું છે. હરેક વસ્તુ આપણે માંગીએ છીએ અને જવાબ આપે છે. આ લેતી દેતી ચાલુ છે. એક ફૂલ પ્રકાશ માંગે છે, સામે એનું સુગંધ આપે છે, એના બી આપે છે. આ હર ક્ષણે કંઈક માંગી રહ્યું છે, કંઈક આપી રહ્યું છે. એવી રીતે મનુષ્યનું જે વ્યક્તિગત મન છે એ વૈશ્વિક મન પાસે માંગી શકે છે. પણ એની ટેકનિક હોય, એનું સાયન્સ હોય, કઈ રીતે માંગી શકે. આ મન માંગવા માટે લાયક છે કે કેમ એ જાણવું પડે પહેલા. બાકી કંઈક બીજું મંગાઈ જાય આપણાથી. બીજું આપણને એક ખ્યાલ નથી આવતું કે હર ક્ષણે અત્યારે પણ તમે બધા બેઠા છો, હું અહીંયા બેઠો છું, પણ ઓલરેડી આપણે માંગી રહ્યા છીએ. અને એ જે આપણું અચેતન મન અને ચેતન મન વચ્ચેનું જે સપાટી છે, જ્યાં એક્ટિવિટી હર ક્ષણે ચાલુ છે, એ હર ક્ષણે ત્યાંથી માંગ ચાલુ છે. અને આ વિશ્વ જે છે, આ વૈશ્વિક મન જે છે, હર માંગની સાથે એ કંઈક ને કંઈક વાઇબ્રેશનમાં ઉતરે છે. We are so identified in life. Yeah, please.
If the universe is responding to your asking at every moment without you consciously aware of it, then if you meet in an accident, does that mean that you have been asking for that and the universe responded by placing you in an accident?
Very true. Very, very true. Very true.
But you're not aware of where is that coming from.
Because did we take the law of the pendulum last year? Now you know where it's come from.
Is it this lifetime, the pendulum in this lifetime, or is it of the many lifetimes?
What was Newton's third law of motion? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This was not Newton's third law. I mean, the rishis knew this law thousands of years ago. Thousands of years. But Newton studied it in the material universe. Whilst the rishis knew it as the law of the pendulum. Right? Everything in life has its reverse effect. I see an accident on the road. Now we are talking about this layer between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Right? I'm passing an accident on the road, and I somewhere in that subconscious area I say, thank God it has not happened to me. Gone. I've already asked for it. I've already asked for it. Because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I don't know the law. I don't know the law. Can you get what I'm trying to say? That is why I said that was one of the things which I wanted to talk about. That area has to come into our level of consciousness. What is going on? Andar su vepar chali rich. Otherwise we can't progress. we can't progress. And you have to have that observing eye which is able to see that what am I asking for every moment? What am I asking? People don't realize this. They go to a temple, they ask for happiness. They don't understand that happiness and sadness go together. They are not two separate things. You cannot ask in that way. Because the minute you ask for one, you are also taking the opposite. That is the law. Here nothing is given one. Here everything is the supermarket, 1 + 1 free. 1 + 1 free.
So the opposite of the accident is safety, just one.
See, Rag and Dvesh go together. Rag and Dvesh go together. The pendulum swings from like to dislike and dislike to like. This is the law of the pendulum. Unless I can bring my consciousness in between the two swings. It's very, I'm going to talk about prayer, but it's very mind-opening. Very.
So what happens if you're involved in that accident?
Pardon?
What happens when you're involved in that accident?
You tell me. I've been talking for 5 years now. Now you should teach me. Supposing I'm involved in the accident.
So that's an event.
In an accident, right?
And that's an event.
It's an event in life.
That came to meet you from your subconscious.
Right. Now, how do I use that accident? Tell me. Supposing I come to you and I give you a big story of the accident. Of course, I'm corrupting my memory at that time. Because I'm going to show the accident in some light. I will show you that if it had just happened a little like this, I would have died. But because it happened a little like this, I survived. And I just turned the wheel, Or maybe I applied the brake or whatever. Or everybody has this divine grace. Somebody came and helped me from the top, some grace or something. What am I saying? What am I saying in this moment?
It's not my fault.
I am inflating my self-love. Can you see? In that inflation of self-love, oh, that accident, but I was saved. Can you see? It's so personal. Can you see that? In that inflation of self-love, what am I saying? What am I saying? I'm sowing a seed for repetition of the same thing. And maybe next time there'll be no place for self-love. Okay, that is one thing. Let's take the accident in another way. Supposing I complain, right? That my wife gave me tea 5 minutes late and that's why I had the accident. Right? Or maybe I'll complain that I gave the car in the garage or something and the mechanic didn't check the car properly or whatever. I mean, we need any excuse to complain. So that seed of complaining which I am sowing, is it going to tell the universal mind, please send me the accident again? Can you see what I'm trying to say? So events happen in our life. In what way do we take those events? If we have to take the event in the right way so we don't sow a seed which tells the universal mind, please send me that event again. We don't realize what we are asking from the universal mind. I say the accident happened, it was my wife's fault. Gone. That's the end of the matter.
So then you say the accident just happened. In that situation, you say...
Yes. First of all, I don't want to be negative about anything, because the minute I'm negative about anything, I'm going to invite the same situation. It may be in some other form. It may not come as a car accident. It may come as something else. Right? But pain has to come, because I am sending an invitation letter to it. Right? And just see how we, from morning to evening, how do we take the events of life? Take the events of life. Tell me. We are stuck in traffic. How do we take the event? Right? Somebody is talking too much and you have to run for an important appointment. How do you take the event? Can you see? What seeds are you sowing for future repetition? What are you asking for from the universal mind? And it is going on. You see, you're talking. I have to run for the appointment. In that area between the conscious and subconscious, it's going on. Right? God. Can you say, I've already asked? I've already asked. Right? And so, consciousness has to come in each and every event in life. Only then can we be free of karma. So this is what I'm trying to talk about when we are praying, because we are already asking, right? And whatever is coming in our life is a result of our asking. Now you get what I'm trying to say. There is no cause for complaint in anyone's life. Because if it has come, I have asked. I have asked. I have asked that universal mind, you please send this event in my life. And this is very difficult, very, very difficult to digest, because in the newspaper you will read that somebody has been raped and you will say, how can you say that? We only see the effects, we don't see the causes. We don't have the eyes to see the causes.
In your previous lectures, you said there's 7 causes to one event. So then...
Yeah, I'll go into that. I'll go into that sometime. I'll take those 7 causes. I want to take the law of 7. This is a beautiful story in the Mahabharata. And I told this story, I'll just repeat it. The 7 Vasus, the 8 Vasus, right? They go for a picnic. And the picnic is near, very, very near Vasishtha's ashram. And so one of the Vasus, the wife, I think Dio, his wife, she tells him that I love this cow of the Rishi. I want to take this cow. The Vasus knew that you can't take Rishi's cow. How can you steal it? But the wife wouldn't listen. And she says, I want to give this cow to someone on the earth. Earth is called as Mrityu Lok. Mrityu Lok. It's like, Mare aa gai Mrityu Lok ma aane present aapni chahiye. On the earth, I want to give this cow as a present to someone. So, they take the cow. And of course, when the sage Vasishtha comes back to his ashram, he knows that the cow has been taken. And he curses them to be born on the earth. Now you see, the Devlok is no suffering, on earth there is suffering. So of course all these Vasus had never suffered anything in their lives. So they were frightened of suffering. So they said, we don't want to stay on this earth longer. So they went to Ganga, and Ganga had been cursed to be born on the earth, and they said, we will come as your children, and when we come, you drown us in the Ganges immediately, and so that we are free of this Mrityu Lok. We don't want to live in this Mrityu Lok. And she does it. And the rule was that the king cannot ask her what she is doing. So the king has one son with her, she goes and drowns. Second, like that, 7 she drowns. And the 8th one, when she is going, he says, what are you doing? And she gives this child to him and goes away. And that child grows up as Devrata Bhishma. So, what does it say? That behind everything that happens, this river Ganga is the flow of Gyan. The flow of Gyan, knowledge. And out of this flow of knowledge, 7 parts are hidden. And only 1 part is seen. I say you are a very angry person. So if I'm a very intelligent person, I can see 1 part. I am basing that truth on 1 upon 7. I'll say he is a very selfish person. Right? That truth, if I'm a very intelligent person, what is this thing? 1 upon 7. This is all we can see. 7 parts are hidden. Now when we open that part of our subconscious mind, we are able to take our consciousness there. Suddenly something which was below the Ganga now comes into our light. Suddenly the laws of life will change. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because now something which till now was hidden to our senses, through an inner sense, the observing eye, we can now see. And now we are seeing that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And later on, when I take the 3 forces, I'm going to go very deep into this. Very deep. Right? Why do obstacles come in our life? Why does suffering come in our life? Right? So we are going to go into that. But today, this is a part of prayer. I just wanted to bring this. Right? So we do not realize that the universal mind is responding to us all the time, because we are asking all the time. Every moment we are asking. The universe is in a state of high sensitivity. Very high એની સંવેદનાની શક્તિ આ વિશ્વ મન જે છે એ ખૂબ ગહેરી છે. એટલે જે દેખાય છે, જે નથી દેખાતું, જે એ બધું એકી સાથે રિસ્પોન્ડ કરી રહ્યું છે. It is responding all the time. Seen, unseen, gross, fine. Whether it is in the mind, whether it is in the heart, whether it is in the sensitivity, it is responding all the time. So before we can even start to pray, what would the rule be? What would the rule be? Even before we are ready to pray, આપણે પ્રાર્થના કરવાના લાયક બનીએ એની પહેલા શું આવે? We should be aware of what we are already asking for. This is the first step. જે આપણે હર ક્ષણે માંગી રહ્યા છે, પહેલા એના પ્રત્યે તો આપણે જાગૃત બનીએ. એ જ આપણા ખ્યાલમાં અને નવું માંગવા આપણે બેસી ગયા. We are not aware of what we are asking for all the time. Now, again we go back to the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is very, very weak. We may ask and ask, but nothing is heard. Nothing is heard. Right? The conscious mind cannot ask. The asking has to be done by the subconscious and the unconscious mind. And for the rule for that, for you to plant the seed of asking in the subconscious and unconscious mind, the conscious mind must calm down. If the monkey is chattering all the time, then what you are asking for, whether it is in the temple or wherever you are asking, is just a part of your ordinary chattering. It has no meaning whatsoever. You have to work on calming the monkey. The monkey is making 120 thoughts per second. Unless it calms down to 60 thoughts per second, how will you create the space where you can move into the unconscious mind and ask? So it's very important to practice rhythmic breathing. Very, very important. Because as the breath comes into rhythm, this monkey calms down. Even if you want to ask for anything, this would be a basic condition. See, the conscious mind has no will. It keeps on desiring throughout our life. It has no real will. Can you see the will of the conscious mind? The will of the conscious mind. A little bit of self-observation. I see it every day. Supposing I sit down that today I want to write this note on prayer. So the conscious mind decides I want to sit down to write this note on prayer. And I write for 1 or 2 minutes. And then some other will come in the conscious mind. Why not have a cup of tea? So I go to have a cup of tea. And when I'm making the cup of tea, something else will come in and say, just a cup of tea, have a packet of wafers also. Right? A packet of wafers and a cup of tea. Then, instead of coming back to write the note, he'll say, but maybe there's a good serial. Why don't you see it for 5 minutes? And then you're seeing the serial, then somebody's phone will come, tang. Oh yes, this. By the time you get back to the table, it's more than 1 hour. Can you see? The conscious mind in deciding anything has no will. It has no sankalp shakti. And you are asking it to pray to the universal mind. It's not possible. It's not possible. It doesn't have it in it. You have to learn to get it to calm down. Only then can something within you which is powerful ask the universal mind, which is a part of that universal mind. Now we are going to take one sutra of Patanjali. Sukha Anushayi Rag. Sukha Anushayi Rag. Rag we will take as desire. Desire. Sukh, pleasure. So wherever there is pleasure, whether we realize it or not, in the subconscious mind there is desire for repetition of the pleasure. Am I clear on this one point? So I like the water, and the minute it gives a little bit of sukh on my tongue, that very moment within the subconscious mind, there is desire for repetition of the pleasure in whatever form. સમજાય છે? સુખ અનુશાઈ રાગ. જીવનમાં કોઈ પણ સુખ આવે તો એ જે આપણી સપાટી છે સબકોન્શિયસ માઇન્ડની, ત્યાં તરત જ ઈચ્છા થઈ જાય છે કે આ સુખની પુનરાવૃત્તિ થવી જોઈએ. પુનરાવૃત્તિ થવી જોઈએ. આપણા કોન્શિયસનેસ ત્યાં સુધી પહોંચ્યું જ નથી કે એ ઈચ્છાને આપણે જોઈ શકીએ કે ઉત્પન્ન જ ન થાય. અને એ જો ઉત્પન્ન જ ન થાય તો કર્મમાંથી મુક્તિ મળી જાય. Just that, the desire for repetition of pleasure. Now this is a little dangerous. What do we enjoy? What do we enjoy? What do we enjoy? I'm in a state of jealousy. My very attachment to the jealousy, at some level in my subconscious mind, am I enjoying that jealousy? Tell me. If I'm not enjoying it, it should not come. I should drop it this very moment. There is something which is holding my consciousness to that jealousy. You get what I'm trying to say? If I say I'm not, then it should drop. But it repeats. Again it repeats. Again it repeats. And it keeps on repeating. I'm in a state of suspicion. And however much I talk about suspicion, but it doesn't go. It doesn't go. And if I didn't like it, I shouldn't be holding on to it. It should go. But definitely deep down somewhere, there is a like and dislike which is attaching me to that, jealousy to that, suspicion. So whenever I'm in any of these negative states, am I sowing a seed? Am I telling the universal mind, please repeat this state? Am I praying, already praying? And what am I praying for? What am I praying for? Can you see this is going on all the time? I'm in a state of irritation. I'm in a state of dislike. Every moment I'm holding on to these states, Sukh Anushai Raga. And in that very holding on to the state, I am asking for its repetition. What does it mean? What is going to happen to my life? Tell me. Just that very seed which I am sowing for repetition, the prayer which I am putting into the universal mind, what is going to happen to my life? Events of that quality are going to come to meet me, because that jealousy wants to repeat. To repeat, it needs an event which will again evoke jealousy within me. The irritation wants to repeat. So it has to invite an event which will again make me irritated. The suspicion wants to repeat. So it has to invite another event which will again tomorrow make me suspicious. And this is the story of my life. I keep on doing the same thing.
Sir,
Yeah.
so in other words, that means that the connection between the universal mind for asking is not with thoughts or mind, but is what is happening inside you.
Yes, sir. Unless our consciousness can go behind that, then we are deserving to really ask. Till then we are not deserving to ask. Because we are already asking. We are already asking and we don't know about it. And the first step in this is that there should be no complaining about anything in my life, because if it is in my life, I have asked for it. That responsibility. That responsibility. If this is happening in my life, it cannot happen otherwise. And once the consciousness goes, then there is a way of asking. There is a way of asking. And what would we ask for? What would we ask for?
Another question I want to ask.
Yeah.
When one prays, is it just asking or is pray something else as well? When one prays, is it just for the sake of asking or is prayer something else as well?
Whichever way you put it, you are sowing a seed asking for a response. Whichever way you put it.
And even if I'm not asking, am I sowing the seed?
No, the very fact that you're praying, even if it is just in gratitude,
Yeah.
if it is just in gratitude, that very gratitude is the same thank you. You get what I'm trying to say? That very gratitude, you are sowing something which is going to give you a response. What I'm trying to say. So that is why I had to put it in these words, asking and responding. Because this whole universal mind, every second, it is in a state of responding. It wants to respond. It wants to. We don't ask the right question. We don't ask the right question. So we can only pray according to the level of our being. What is the level of my being? And I can only know the level of my being through observing I. Observing I. What is the level of my being? See, we only see the effects of what is happening. I say pain has come in my life. I've got a fever. Right? It is the effect. I cannot see the cause behind it. Whatever science says, the virus has come or whatever. Right? That is not the cause. The cause is somewhere else. What does this say of our life? What does it say of our life? Try to see that all our relationship in life is only through effects and totally blind to causes. This is the life we are living. We are totally blind to the cause, and everything we do is based upon the effect. I say you're a very angry person. Can I see the cause? I can't see the cause. I only see the effect. I say he cheated me. As if there's anything like cheating. But he cheated me. Right? I only see the effect. Today I was reading something very beautiful. That the English word love, comes from the Sanskrit root lob. Lubhyate. I was so shocked.
Lob.
Greed.
Oh, is it?
It was so shocking, so shocking.
But English words have their...
So the Westerners, for the Westerners, possessiveness is love. It comes from the Sanskrit root for greed. So, can you see the difference in our life? When there is observing I, we are now acting through the causes. We are not acting on the effects. You get angry, but now I cannot react because I am now looking at the cause. Can you see? And I suddenly see in the cause that I planted a seed, that is why she got angry. If I had not planted the seed, she would not have got angry. If I had not asked a prayer, then it would not have responded by making you get angry. And if I see that cause, I cannot react. Can you understand what I... So, if we could see the causes behind things, the real causes behind things, there would be no violence in the world. Then you don't have to preach love. The violence is gone. What remains is love. But we keep on acting through effects because we cannot see what we are asking for. The second thing for us in life, everything is personal. Everything is personal. I am unhappy. I am in pain. I don't have money. Right? Everything in life is personal. You insulted me. And when we are asking to the universal. The universal does not understand personal. Right? So first of all, I can't see the cause. Supposing I'm very ill. First of all, I can't see the cause, why I'm very ill. Second thing, I'm asking the universal that I am ill, please look after me. But that guy up there says, what is the meaning of I? I don't know the meaning of I. There's nothing personal up there. You're asking in the wrong language. You're asking in the wrong language. So, as long as you think he's interested in all our personal, whether this guy is sick or not sick, or whether he has money or not money, or whether somebody has stolen something, or whether he wants a car of blue color or red color, he'd go mad. Go mad. It has nothing to do with the personal. So when we ask, if we are asking for the personal, we are wasting time. We are wasting time. We can ask for grace. And in that grace, some personal problem of ours may go or it may increase, we don't know. But we can ask for grace. Right? But when we ask through the I. Through the I. This I is full of attitudes. This I is full of all kinds of knots inside. This I is full of all kinds of moral ideas of what is right and what is wrong. It has stacks and stacks of associations which you've not yet talked about. It has different pictures of itself. What a good father am I? What a good boss am I? What a good this am I? All these goody pictures it has of itself. And from this, what are we going to ask that? Right? We have to stand aside from I. We have to look at the I from far away before asking over there. This I cannot ask. And then this I lives in the law of accident. And I enjoy it so much when people come and tell me, I went to the temple and I asked for this and I got this. And it's so beautiful. I said, law of accident is so beautiful. Law of accident is so beautiful. How can you be more drunk than this? Even the person in the bar cannot be more drunk than this. I got it. Can you see? I got it. And they don't understand the stupidity of the whole thing. That I cannot ask from that. That I cannot ask. So every negative emotion we are passing through, whether it is jealousy, complaining, suspicion, irritation, we are at that very moment asking for its repetition. We are sowing the seed of karma. All our grievances, all our prejudices, all our laziness, all our dislikes. We are. વચ્ચે કોઈ બોલતા નથી આ ગેલેરી વાળા બધા.
હવે તો આપણે
ડ્રેસ સર્કલમાં આવી ગયા. આપણું નાનું હું કેવી રીતે માંગીશ? એ નાનું હું આપણું ગાંઠોથી ભરેલું છે. આપણું નાનું હું ગમા અણગમાથી ભરેલું છે. આપણું નાનું હું ની અંદર જાતની માન્યતાઓ છે કે આને સાચું કહેવાય, આને ખોટું કહેવાય. જ્યારે આ નાનું હું જે છે એ માંગે છે એની પાસે, આ બધાની વચ્ચેથી એ માંગે છે. You see? Just when Sachin Tendulkar retired, he gave a series of interviews on TV. And in one of the interviews he says, in the last World Cup, when India played the final in the World Cup, I think with Sri Lanka we played the final. I did not go out to see the match. I was sitting in the dressing room and praying. Praying what? India should win the World Cup. Now that person up there doesn't know who is India and who is Sri Lanka. Can you see the stupidity of the whole thing? And he's talking of this on TV and everybody's clapping. Can you? And this is what goes on. This is the nonsense which goes on everywhere. That he took care of me when I was ill. But he's not. If you from illness you got better, it got better because of the law. Of the law. And if you fell ill, you sowed a seed, you fell ill because of the law. He has nothing to do with it. We cannot ask personal. We can ask that our consciousness increases, so from personal, our personal dissolves and we become universal. We can ask that. But tomorrow my creditor is coming, the bank is going to ask me for so much money. Please send somebody tomorrow morning to give me the... Right? I pray for that. It's not possible. But this is the state of mechanical man. આ યાંત્રિક માનવની આ જ સ્થિતિ છે. એને આના સિવાય બીજી પ્રાર્થના આવડે પણ નહીં. He cannot do anything otherwise. Even when with the conscious mind we say, I don't want to get irritated again, the very fact that we get irritated again means we are enjoying it even negatively somewhere deep down. Otherwise it's not possible. And the universal mind is responding secretly without our knowing. And we do not have the consciousness to know what did we ask from it and what it is going to give us. And then we cry. We cry in life. I remember Ramdulare Bapu, सब कुछ नियोजित है फिर भी उसका आयोजन करना पड़ता है. Everybody has come with a very big bank balance. Very big bank balance. I cannot understand why people cry. There is no reason to cry. You're asking wrong somewhere. You're asking wrong. What has come in your life, you've written the wrong check. You've written the આયોજન ખોટું કરી રાખ્યું છે. નિયોજનની અંદર તો ખૂબ પડેલું છે. બધાય રાજા જ છે. But you just don't know how to write the check properly. We don't have the consciousness. So as we practice self-observation, a ray of light comes into our unconscious mind. And that which was not seen till today, suddenly we start seeing it. Now, man has two levels of effort. Because we didn't go further into effort. Effort in the line of knowledge, effort in the line of being. And my guru used to always tell me that see that your knowledge is only 2 years ahead of your being. Don't gather too much knowledge. Right? I may gather knowledge of Atma and Paramatma and all the yogas and all the pranas and etc. etc. But if I come home and I react with my wife, then my level of being is here and all my knowledge is right here. જ્ઞાન અહીંયા છે ને મારું હોવાપણું અહીંયા છે તો રિએક્શનમાં છે. એ તો સસ્પિશનમાં છે, વેમમાં છે. This is my level of being. What is the point in gathering so much knowledge? Then that knowledge has no meaning for me. So on the spiritual path, there are two lines of movement. We gather knowledge, we gather the map of where we want to go, how we should go, what scenery will come in the way, and then we implement that and our being grows. Our being has to grow. હોવાપણું આપણું જો transform ન થાય, everything else, all knowledge is a waste. All knowledge is a waste. The being has to transform. The outcome of knowledge is thought. The outcome of being is will. What do we will in life? What do we will? That is my level of being. You get what I'm trying to say? Try to understand it in a different way. I am in a state of irritation. Either I can will it away, right? And if I can't will it away, then I'm willing it. That is my being. There is no excuse. If somebody says, "Arey main to bahut koshish kari ke mari andar irritation na aave to," you can't will it away. The level of being, the outcome of level of being is will, that you can take a broom and sweep it away. I don't want it. Right? પણ એ જો ન થતું હોય તો હજી એ will આપણી અંદર ઉત્પન્ન થયું નથી. એ will આપણી અંદર ઉત્પન્ન નથી થયું. તો આપણું level of being ત્યાં છે. That is our level of being. Okay? And we must accept what our level of being is. Okay? Everything repeats in our life. The same negative states. So there are two sides to our growth: the level of the side of knowledge, which is thought, and the side of being. Now, there must be knowledge of what we want to ask for, and there must be, in the being, there must be will, sankalp shakti. These two things have to be properly developed before we enter into prayer. If we want to ask for something, then we must have the will to hold it, to ask for it. Right? Both have to go together. Now, we do the presence exercise when we come over here. The idea of prayer is very closely connected to presence. Presence. We feel we are praying to that, murti in the temple or wherever in the place of worship. Actually, we are praying to our own presence. Our own presence. We are worshipping our own presence. But if we can't hold our presence for a fraction of a second, we don't have the will to hold the presence, then how are we going to pray? What would this mean? What would this mean about all prayer? If prayer starts with the holding of presence, what will it mean about all prayer? That all prayer starts with divided attention. તો આજથી આટલું તો સૂત્ર લઈ લેજો. કઈ પણ આ બધી વાત કરેલી બધી ભૂલી જાજો. રાઈટ? પણ જ્યારે પણ પ્રાર્થના કરવા બેસો ત્યારે પહેલી વસ્તુ એટલું તો જોજો કે અટેન્શન ડિવાઇડેડ છે કે નથી. એટલું તો કરો. રાઈટ? હવે બેસી ગયા પ્રાર્થનાની અંદર અને આપણે શું કે ગુરુજી બોલે છે મંત્ર અને આપણે ક્યાંક છે કે હવે આજે બપોરે જમવામાં શું હશે. Divided attention, one arrow of attention on what he is saying. ભલે પ્રેઝન્સની સંવેદના ન થાય પણ ક્યાંક કંઈક તો સંવેદના થશે. One arrow of attention on the presence. Well, you don't understand the science. At least we can start from here. At least we can start from here. Many people don't understand the science. Many people, they come with their horoscope and they have Pitru dosh. So I say, okay, you go for the Pitru dosh, but this is the way I want you to do the prayer. So then you see our mind is so cunning. They come up with some logical argument. And they say that, how do we know that we are doing divided attention? But what about the priest who is doing the mantras? He is only interested in not this priest. But that priest is only interested in the money which you pay him. So I say it doesn't make any difference. Because those mantras were not created by the priest. They were created by conscious people. If he is saying them mechanically, that's his problem. We have nothing to do with it. Can we come into a conscious state of divided attention? It doesn't matter who is saying the mantras. You can have a good priest to say the mantras, but it doesn't matter. In what way are we taking the mantra? What will happen if we are in a state of divided attention? What will happen? What will happen? Forget everything else I'm saying. Forget everything else. What will happen? Supposing I'm listening to him saying mantras and I'm holding my presence. Supposing I can't hold my presence, but at least I'm throwing attention inside, maybe on my breathing, wherever I want to, right? I can at least start with body awareness, breathing awareness, whatever, right? So there is one arrow of attention on the mantra, one inside. What is happening to the mantra? Can you tell me? What is happening to the mantra?
The vibrations of the mantra hits the nadis inside.
Right?
Unblock the...
Yeah, but before they unblock the nadis, what is happening? Why, or let's put it another way, why does the mantra become powerful that it can unblock the nadi?
It's a level of receptivity.
Huh?
There's a level of receptivity inside you.
Yeah, the level of, but there's something else. There's something else. Supposing I'm reacting to you, then am I vomiting life out? I'm not digesting anything inside. I'm vomiting it out. And every moment this thing is reacting, like, dislike, right? So every moment poor life wants to come in, we are throwing it out. We are excreting it, right? Now we are in the state of double arrowed attention. So one, he is saying the mantra, I am listening, one arrow of attention, and one arrow of attention on me. I am taking in two impressions. Supposing he is saying the mantra, but I am daydreaming. What is going to happen in the stock market tomorrow? Right? I am daydreaming. Right? Then I am not even taking in one impression. Supposing I am concentrating on him, I am only taking in one impression. If I say, "Are lean thank you any other," then I am taking in one impression. But if I'm taking in his saying the mantra, I'm listening to that, and I'm taking in the feeling of I at the same time. I'm living life double. Most people are not living because they are in daydreaming. Nobody's taking in anything. They're even sitting here just now, it's gone. It's traveling all over the place. Right? So we are not taking in even one impression. But when we are in this state of double arrow attention, I am taking in his impression and I am taking in the feeling of I. What that does is that sound of the mantra which is coming in, the sound of the prayer which is coming in, the feeling of I gives it an added push. It doubles the potency of the vibration. Am I now getting across? Because we are living at a heightened state, and it's as if we are not only swallowing it down, but we are pushing it down into our stomach so that digestive juices can take everything. And that mantra, whether the priest is daydreaming, it does not matter. We are taking it in the right way, and it is going in, and it will move through the nadis. It will open up blockages in the prana. It will create a situation where things may change for us. Things may change for us. Remember one thing, all changes which come through prayer are only temporary. We have to work hard to take our level of consciousness to that level which has come to us through prayer. We have to work hard, right? But it gives us a glimpse. It opens up certain channels which were blocked, right? It allows us to take energy which was going out through excitement in through sensitivity. So many things become possible through prayer. ગુજરાતી એ કહેવાનો મતલબ એ છે કે આપણે આ કંઈ પણ ન જાણતા હોય, આ તો હજી આપણે કાલે કરશું કારણ કે આપણે તો અડધું જ થયું આજે, રાઈટ? હજી મારા ગુરુના નોટ્સ તો બાકી છે. પણ હવે 6 અઠવાડિયા સાથે જ છીએ એટલે કંઈક ને કંઈક ટાઈમ પાસ માટે કરવું પડશે.
એક અઠવાડિયું તો ગયું, એક અઠવાડિયું ગયું, બીજું અઠવાડિયું રજા.
તોય 6 અઠવાડિયા તો એટલે જ્યારે પણ તમે કોઈ પણ પ્રાર્થનામાં બેસો ત્યારે ડબલ એરોડ અટેન્શનથી બેસો. સપોઝિંગ કોઈ પ્રીસ્ટ પણ મંત્ર ન પણ બોલતા હોય, આપણે મંત્ર બોલીએ છીએ તો આપણે બોલવા વાળા છીએ ને આપણે સાંભળવા વાળા છીએ. આખી આ મંત્રની એક સાયકલ છે, બહુ ગહેરું સાયકલ છે. તો એક ધ્યાન જે મંત્ર ઉપર, એના સાઉન્ડ્સની ઉપર, અને એક ધ્યાન ફીલિંગ ઓફ આઈ, હું સાંભળવા વાળો, હું સાંભળવા વાળો. તો હર ક્ષણે અંદર જે આપણે પ્રતીતિ લઈએ છીએ જીવનની, એ ડબલ થઈ જશે. એક મંત્રની પ્રતીતિ પણ લઈએ છીએ, એક આઈની પણ પ્રતીતિ લઈએ છીએ. સાધારણ જીવનમાં જ્યારે આપણે ડે ડ્રીમિંગમાં હોય છે ત્યારે કોઈ પ્રતીતિ અંદર જાતી જ નથી. રાઈટ? બ્રૂડિંગમાં હોય તો કોઈ પ્રતીતિ અંદર જાતી જ નથી. રાઈટ? પણ આ ક્ષણ એવો છે કે હર ક્ષણે બે પ્રતીતિ અંદર જાય. એટલે જેવું એ મંત્રની સંવેદના અંદર જાય છે, એની સાથે હુંની પ્રતીતિ છે, એને એક ધક્કો એક્સ્ટ્રા લાગે છે. એ મંત્રની જે પોટેન્સી છે, એની જે શક્તિ છે, એ ડબલ થઈ જાય છે. એનું કામ કરી જશે, એનું કામ કરી જશે. બેઠા હોય, રાઈટ? તો આટલી આ વાત થઈ કે આપણા કામની વાત છે. આટલું તો આપણે કરી શકીએ. ભલે આ બધું જે હું બોલું છું એ બધું ઉપરથી જાય, વાંધો નહીં, આટલું આપણે કરી શકીએ. મને હવે લાગે છે કે ટેપ રેકોર્ડર ગળી ગયો છે, મારે બોલવું પડે. There must be presence in the prayer. That presence is the Ishta to whom we are praying. There is a science of statues, there is a science of murti. The murti puja has a science, but that science is useless unless there is an inner presence. This inner presence, what we call God, has so many multiple dimensions. So many dimensions. It can come in so many forms, and it is those forms which we want to enjoy in prayer. So when we are praying to the statue, say we are praying to a statue of Ram, we are saying it is coming in the form of playing. But when we are praying to a statue of Krishna, we are saying it is coming in the form of attracting. Each statue has its own form. Some come with the form of knowledge, some come with the form of time. Some come as the form of a fortress, Durga. Last year we talked about Durga. Right? Each and every form which is in front of us is some manifestation of that absolute, some dimension of that which has been expounded. Like one doctor has become a very small expert in a small specialization. It is a small specialization of that absolute, and we are enjoying that specialization in our prayer. Now, coming across. There can be no, okay, I like this and I like that, because truth is multi-dimensional. You can't hold it in one box, only Ram or only Krishna or only this. It is so multi-dimensional. It's too small to come in. They are too small to hold the whole truth. But Ramayate iti Ramam, the truth, when it is in the mood to play, it comes in the form of Ram. But to play, you have to be a good player. You have to be a good husband. You have to be a good king to play the game. Playing is not just enjoyment. There is a great, what do you call, effort, a sadhana which goes behind becoming a good player. Of course, Krishna is a very multi-dimensional word. We'll go into it some other day. Because we can break it up into so many dimensions. Right? But the truth, We are enjoying the truth. We are enjoying our own presence, which is the truth. Seeing the statue, letting it manifest in that form. But if we are weak inside, if we are fragmented into so many desires, let's get this over with very fast. Right? Many people come, and will the marriage prayer, ceremony be over in half an hour? Marriage ceremony be over in half an hour? And the whole science of the marriage, the whole meeting of the inner male and female, and the whole meeting of the two nadis, the Ida nadi which is female, the Pingla nadi which is male, and when they travel through the 7 chakras, we are taking the 7 rounds of the marriage, the whole symbolism, the whole presence, the whole manifestation. But will it get over in half an hour? Then don't have it only. Just get somebody with a register and sign the register and be free of it. It is not marriage, it is a process of yoga. It is a yoga. It is a divine ceremony. It is a prayer. So the whole inner meeting of the male and female, the whole, joining of the two to become the whole, to become consciousness, is in that marriage ceremony. It does not matter whether the priest knows it or not. He is saying the mantras. You hear the mantras in the right way. You evoke that presence in the right way. You move through that inner journey in the right way. But as we are in the state we are fragmented with so many desires. Our attention, we cannot hold our attention at one point for even a fraction of a second. Where we are going to hold presence inside? We are not in a state that we can pray. We first have to work on ourselves to bring ourselves to a state where we are now deserving to pray. Then right prayer will come in our lives. At least we should be able to hold the attention inside, the feeling of I, for some fraction of moments of time. Some time. If you can't hold the God inside, what is the point in praying to the God outside? It has no meaning in it. That is just a mechanical thing. It's mechanics. Now to go deeper into prayer, we'll have to go into the states of consciousness. I did take them last year, I'll take them again tomorrow. What it means, the 4 states of human consciousness. The lowest state is Nidra, Swapna, Jagruti, Turiya. In the Gita, there are 4 characters in the Gita. Dhritarashtra, Nindra, right? Sanjay, Swapna, Arjun, Jagruti, Turiya, Krishna. These are the 4 characters in the Gita. The Gita is the story of the movement of our consciousness from the lowest state to the highest state. Right? So I'll take these 4 states of consciousness tomorrow, and in which state of consciousness can we pray, and to which state of consciousness are we praying. So I think my notes are not getting over today. We'll have to continue with them tomorrow, and then we'll take my Guru's notes on prayer. Let's stop over here. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.